Well, hi, Leigh.
Hey.
Isn't this a little impromptu gal pal meetup?
It is.
Yeah, I mean, listeners might be just as surprised as we are to find ourselves just doing a little midweek record. But things have been happening, Leigh.
Things have been moving, things have been shaking. Full disclosure to the listener, I did receive the big news last night when I was on a delayed train back from the Brighton Fringe, having just been doing several kind of slightly chaotic stand-up shows. So I was half delirious. I wasn't sure if it was all a mirage, but I have woken up this morning and it is in fact real. Guilty on 34 counts.
I know, it's damning. So we thought we would just jump on and do like a little extra bonus episode of Queer Gals Watch in order to kind of pull apart everything that's been happening with the Trump trial. Now, we are going to deep dive into this in next week's episode, which is following episode 8 of The West Wing, season 1, called Enemies. And Leigh will go into quite a lot of detail about like what even is a federal crime. But we record a couple of weeks in advance, and at the time of recording, the trial was still ongoing and Trump hadn't yet been convicted. So I thought we'd had a little juicy little bonus episode to dig into the news of the last 24 hours.
We thought we'd just drop in on you, unannounced. I hope that's okay.
Like an unwanted family member on a busy day. So I'm gonna put my best CJ energy into this, Leigh, and I'm just gonna say, imagine for the purposes of this conversation that I'm dumb.
Yes.
And explain to me what the hell is even happening with the Trump trial.
So as I caveat in next week's episode, where we focus on what even is a federal crime, the caveat that I would like to give yet again is that I am neither a legal scholar nor even any type of lawyer. I am very much explaining this in legal terms from someone who is a bit of a nerd about these things in a kind of hobbyist way, but not in someone who has any kind of professional understanding whatsoever.
Yeah, you're coming to us for a hot take, really.
Basically, yes.
But, you know, there are many fantastic news outlets
yes,
that you
exactly.
can go to.
And I've
if you
been
so
to
wished.
those news outlets and I'm going to explain my takeaways.
Perfect.
Now, shall we begin with the question that was in the group chat, which is, yay, he can't run for president now.
Yes.
Unfortunately, sadly, a friend of the pod, Ellie, who we love, I'm so sorry to say, that is not the case. He can still run for president. There are state offices that you are prohibited from having been convicted of a crime before you hold. But I don't believe the framers of the Constitution even conceived that it was possible that a potential president would be a convicted criminal. And so there is no official rule in place that says that someone who's been convicted of a crime can't be president. However, I think the way that it might be significant is that in the exit polling of the Republican primary, which happened in the last 6 months, double-digit voters said that they are not paying attention to the indictments, but they would struggle to vote for Trump if he was convicted of a crime. So where it may come in is that it may sway voters who were kind of on the fence, maybe a Nikki Haley voter, maybe a Chris Christie voter.
So speaking on behalf of the group, as someone who knows nothing, is there a world in which, and this could be quite an optimistic world, but is there a world in which Trump loses the primaries?
He's already won the primary. Okay. He is the Republican nominee. He's not been officially crowned yet.
Right, maybe that's where I've got confused.
He has won the Republican nomination. The Republican convention has not happened yet where they officially say it.
Okay.
But he has won. Everyone else has dropped out of the race at this point. Nikki Haley, God love her. Well, actually don't God love her because she signed her name on missiles being fired into Gaza. So
yeah,
frankly,
I'm not a fan.
No. Nikki Haley hung in there for quite a long time, but she did drop out a couple of months ago. And so he is the Republican nominee.
Right. So in that case, he is going to run for president.
Mm-hmm. He is running for president.
Yes. And so all we can hope now is that the fact that he has at least these convictions
Yeah.
will sway voters to Grandpa Joe.
Correct. Yes. That is the hope.
Okay. I mean, it's honestly, I just don't know what's going to happen, Leigh. I'm so hopeful that this could be like a game-changing moment where it's like, do we want someone who's a convicted criminal, well, winning the presidency? I just don't. I don't know how much I trust the general public of America to make good choices.
This is just purely my own politics now that's coming out to play, but which is not necessarily what Queer Gals Watch is about. But I have definitely also been seeing that some of my very, very intelligent, educated friends who maybe are in what feel like comfortable Democrat states can't bring themselves to vote for Biden because of how he's funded the genocide in Gaza. And I do understand that. So I do want to kind of caveat this conversation that we're having with, I completely understand why someone would also struggle to vote for Biden.
It's a difficult situation to be in as a American citizen at the moment when perhaps your core values don't lie with either candidate that's running for the presidency.
Yeah. But to take it back to the real brass tacks of what we're all trying to understand about what this conviction means, the sentencing guidelines for the type of crimes that Trump has been convicted of range from fines up to a limited period of prison time. I don't personally feel that it's likely that Trump will get sent to prison.
No.
Because I think the judge feels that that will politically escalate the situation. And although he has been convicted of the most egregious version of these crimes, for which I think anyone else would probably be sent to prison. I think the fact that the president is there for this type of crime, not carrying a prison sentence, I personally feel, not that I'm like trying to project political predictions, but I wouldn't want people to be shocked if Trump doesn't get prison time.
No, and obviously, as much as he's a shady character, he obviously has never been convicted of a crime before. So the fact that this is his first conviction also will, reduce the possibility of any jail time. And do we think that could possibly reduce the possibility of probation as well?
I have no idea on that question, to be perfectly honest with you. I am not sure. What I do know is that it may be possible that although Trump can absolutely still run for president and may still win the presidency, if he's not completed his sentence, whether that be fulfilling his probation or paying a fine, he may not be able to vote for himself.
That would be very interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, there must be scholars, Leigh, about the globe who are just losing their minds right now.
Think of the academics. Think of the specialist subject, neurospicy academics who are just having the greatest day of their lives today.
Thesi? Many theses will be born today.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's a big historical moment. A previous president and a presidential candidate, neither has ever been convicted of a felony before. So it's a huge day for history, regardless about how you feel about this election or who you might or might not want to vote for, or whether you want to protest and not vote at all. I think it's a huge day for history.
It is. And I think, like Leigh's been saying, for some of these situations, it isn't actually an answer because it is unprecedented. And so as just gals about town trying to live our lives, of course we have a million stupid questions.
Yeah.
And hopefully it should be slightly reassuring to know that most of the things that you don't understand, there are some very high-powered, highly intelligent and educated people who also don't understand what is happening right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would 100%, if people are podcast girlies, which you are because you're listening to this, I would really recommend, if you want to get a little bit of more of a grasp on what's been happening, the Rachel Maddow Show is available on podcast format, wherever you get your podcasts. And Pod Save America has also done some really helpful coverage of this trial and the verdict.
And Leigh, do we have any inkling about how long we might have to wait before sentencing?
Trump's sentencing is set for the 11th of July.
Wow. I mean, what a crazy few days it's going to be, because we have our general election on the 4th of July.
The old Jenny Leck, where we will also, Americans, you are not alone. In the words of one of the football teams, you will not walk alone. We will also be pinching our noses, being like, can we possibly think about voting for Labour and Keir Starmer? Oh, but we put on a brave face and we try and work it out.
Yeah, I think just gotta, we might not be able to keep, we just gotta get the Tories out, get them out of Downing Street, and then we can just see what nightmares continue afterwards.
Just like final PS before we go. We also just have to acknowledge, given that we live in the UK, we absolutely just have to acknowledge Rishi Sunak in the rain. Who allowed him to do that? He looked like a sad schoolboy on the playground.
Do you think it's because they were worried that an umbrella would make him look even smaller?
I don't know.
We love a short king. No disrespect to those who are less tall. Unfortunately, the man is just a walking meme, and I can't. The state of the world, Leigh, at the moment is just a raging bonfire of tragedy and confusion.
Do you remember, like, being excited to vote? Do you remember, like, when you'd have a moment of being like, oh my God, like, I'm going to get to vote for this person. How cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm quite lucky that my local MP is actually a bit of a ledge. So, but I just... sigh, Leigh. If it weren't for the fact that we got to meet up virtually and chat absolute nonsense about a fictional TV program, who knows how we would manage.
Yeah. Well, until next time, we will catch you girlies next week where we will be discussing episode 8, as Fiona says, and what even is a federal crime in legal terms. But until then,
stay safe out there, kings and queens. Put on a brave face. Go get yourself a little sweet treat and just hold on tightly to any sense of reality.
And vote for whoever you can stomach voting for.
Yeah, honestly.